your weekend and your Monday morning are like, what, 10 feet apart maybe? You have an office space, like sometimes they're no feet apart, you know? So for me, I've been really diligent about my work hours. If I have a busy week, maybe I have to log in at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m., but I'm always going to end at 5 p.m. If I'm sleepy, maybe I'll start at 9 and end at 6. That's fine too. But I try to like really set a time before I even start my work day. I do like really try to keep to my routines. Like I work out in the morning, I will make myself a smoothie, and then I go and I log in. And then, you know, I take breaks throughout the day, but I try to like really keep myself on a schedule.
Welcome to Do You Have a Map, where we talk all things career, learning from some of the dopest people that we know in actually all over, really. And today, I'm excited about this episode. I have a former intern who used to actually intern with us at the events and really helped to kick off our social media. But before we even go there, I'd like to tee it off to my co-host for tonight, Melyssa. Melyssa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, okay. So I guess like the first thing is my name is spelled differently, and I like telling people that. It's Melyssa. So it makes me more unique. I'm a social media intern for DIM, and I'm also a senior at DePaul majoring in journalism. So I just love everything creative, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a lot of good DePaul energy. I did forget about that. We all actually went to DePaul, which great Chicago institution. Um, but before we even shift gears a little bit, what are you listening to right now, Melyssa? What's on your playlist? What's the last thing you listened to?
Okay, so I'm really excited about this question. So for the past, I think 2 days, I've been obsessed with Melanie Martinez, and I just got into her K through 12 album, which is also like a film on YouTube. And that's just been on like replay. Like I've only been listening to her, and I'm just like obsessed with her and her like world that she created for her like character Crybaby. And so like that's just like what I've been vibing to. I'm just obsessed with her.
Loving that. Loving that. I definitely got to check it out. And yes, and our guest today is Evelyn Brown. Evelyn, say what up to the people.
Hi.
So Evelyn, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing right now? What's going on?
Sure. So I'm Evelyn. I am an influencer relations associate at Ulta Beauty. Basically, I also do some content creation for them. That's kind of a new thing that I've been doing, but mostly running a 50 influencer year-long program based in just brand awareness for Ulta Beauty. So we've got one influencer from almost every state in the United States. And it's a lot.
Huge. That's huge. And Evelyn, what are you listening to right now?
I'm going to check out Melanie Martinez because I have heard that name before, but I haven't listened to it yet. But right now I'm listening to Alina Baraz. Somebody told me to listen to her, and her album, It Was Divine, is so good. I listened to it on the car today. It was fabulous. Very like slow R&B vibes, like soft, gorgeous. I'm into it.
I'm feeling that.
Y'all should check it out.
I got two people to check out this weekend. Before this, I'm always, tuned into what's going on with my guy Drake. So I had to listen to, these last two songs that he just put out. The first song was good. It was more like Khalid on it, the whole joint, and then Drake said a little bit. What song was that? That was actually Grease. But then Pop Star, Drake got into his bag in that one a little bit. Threw a few shots at Rihanna. I love a little beef going on, but it's a little something. Just a little short jabs, nothing crazy. But I was really more so excited about Joey Badass and in this Pusha T record that he dropped. So that's really what I should really be talking.
I've been on an R&B kick lately, but that sounds good. I didn't even know Drake had new music out.
See, him and DJ Khaled, 2 records.
I feel like he's been like putting out so many albums and like singles and like LPs. Like I can't keep up, but like I've been trying to, and like I don't know. I can't say too much. I just vibe with the music. I don't really like have comments.
I feel you. I like that. So Evelyn, tell us a little bit about how you're impacting the world. Ooh, I can't speak today. How are you impacting the world?
Ooh, I think right now the influencer space, especially post like George Floyd's murder and the uprising of the Black Lives Matter movement, it's been very clear that Black people are getting the short end of the stick, and it's not really a shortage in the influencer space as well. So I think having the power to amplify Black influencers right now, make sure they're being paid fairly, make sure they're visible in campaigns that we're running, make sure they're visible in our year-long program. Like, I'm really being very careful and intentional in choosing and paying and having Black influencers just seen on the Ulta Beauty channels. We have 7 million followers on Instagram, so there's a lot of people with eyes on Black people right now, and it's because of me.
That's huge. That's major. Like, I feel like that's one thing that we really try to push and make sure brands are holding themselves accountable, right? And I think like you being an ally in that space is really big. Let's take it back a little bit though. Before you even got to Ulta Beauty, what were you doing? I know Melyssa probably has more questions about that as a fellow DePaul alum. So Melyssa, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I guess just like from where I'm at a standpoint, because I'm graduating in November. And so like, even though I have a journalism degree, I don't necessarily want to go into like journalism, like in that space. So I definitely want to work more with like social media and then like also like the makeup industry, just like as, I wouldn't even like, I don't want to say a creator, even though like I have like a very, like I have an Instagram, but there's not a lot of followers, like, cause I don't really keep up with it, but like, I'm just obsessed with all things like makeup and like how you can create art literally just from a palette. So like I wanted to work within that space just because like it's my passion and I love it. And then, but I just don't know how to like go into that. Also like from like where I have like experience in right now in college, like I have different kind of like belts or whatever. But I just want to know like your journey and see like how you came.
Yeah, for sure. Rewind to when I was in college. I went to DePaul as well and graduated with my bachelor's in communications. I had this idea that I wanted to be in PR, and I knew that like I liked social media and that I was good at it, but it wasn't necessarily something that was being studied at DePaul just yet. It was like one day in a marketing class. It wasn't like, you know, now you can get like a whole degree in social media, which I wish that I had, but I kind of had to learn like on the ground. But before I was working at Ulta Beauty, which is honestly my dream job, like I as well like love beauty, love makeup, paired with kind of just a love for social media. It's perfect to be on the social media team at a beauty retailer. But before that, I was working at a social media agency, and it was more so like photo styling and photo management. And there were some beauty clients, but it wasn't like all of the clients I worked on were beauty. So I had that passion, and I kept that passion going on my own personal social media. So like I'm kind of like a nano influencer in my own right, in that I post looks to Instagram. I keep up with beauty trends. I'm deeply entrenched in the social media beauty community. Like, I live there. It's my favorite place to be. So I think I kind of just, kept that social media passion alive from a beauty perspective on my own time, but I was also learning a ton of stuff at this agency. So, kind of soaking up what I could and learning what I could while I was doing something that wasn't necessarily amazing for me, but, I was learning. I kind of think that I did the same thing at DIN. Like, it has nothing to do with beauty, but, there was something like about learning how to navigate the social space that is necessary before you really are going to reach like what you really want to be doing. like, I'm not necessarily doing what I'd like to be doing right now, but I think I'm well on my way. You know, it's kind of about like taking what you can from your last place and bringing it somewhere new. I just feel like I just talk so much.
No. What, like, okay, just from that, like, where is like your dream job, like, or like the one that you can like imagine?
Right. I think I always see myself as a beauty editor at a publication. So it's funny that you say you're studying journalism, because I am currently looking at like, you know, micro degrees in journalism, because I would really like to finesse my writing. Not finesse, but like, you know, make my writing better.
Oh, I get that. I'm a journalist.
Like,
I'm still trying like to like get my writing.
right. And so, you know, that's the skill that I feel like I'm a good writer, but I think I would like to like, you know, fine tune those skills, because I do see myself as a beauty editor somewhere. I'd like to be like a tastemaker in the beauty industry, you know, like beauty editors kind of navigate what products are featured in magazines, are featured in newspapers, are featured in TV shows. And from there, the industry, you know, follows. So I do kind of see myself with like this huge breadth of knowledge in beauty, and, you know, kind of like setting the trends from a higher up space up there somewhere.
Oh my gosh, like you're my twin. I don't necessarily want to be like a beauty editor, but I would love to like be like a writer, or like their social, like on their social media team for like an online publication. Like, I don't know. I love it would spin my magazine since I was little. Like, I got all the tips like throughout my teenage years from that magazine. So like, I don't know, like working there would be, or like Vogue. I just like love Vogue. But that's
what was the first one you said? Cosmo?
Yeah, Cosmopolitan. Like,
so the beauty editor at Cosmopolitan is like my role model. Her name is Julie Wilson. She's Black. She's amazing. And she just left Essence. She was the beauty editor at Essence before that, but she just went to Cosmopolitan. So I think that's a great magazine to watch right now, because she's a very fresh, new mind behind what's going on at Cosmo. They've already done some pretty cool things that, you know, they were not tracking with before. So that's like a great place to like watch right now.
So one thing that I keep hearing, right, and this is a point that we always try to drive home with our interns, right, and any student who comes to some of our events, right, you maybe took, 2-3 years before you were doing something in a beauty space that you actually wanted to be in, right? And that was all after college, not even during college, correct?
Definitely, yeah.
So go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I was really just like kind of coming into my passion for beauty in college. Like, I wasn't working in any capacity. It was actually the total opposite of beautiful. My college experience.
And what was that like? What was that path like, right? You're leaving, because I feel like a lot of students feel like, oh, I'm gonna graduate college and get to my dream career, like my first job, right? And I don't think that's necessarily always the reality, but it can be for some people, right? But what type of like determination and like diligence and like the work that you're doing, how did you continue to move forward in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, college is like tricky, right? Because it can be discouraging and intimidating if you are not, you know, one of those people who did 7 internships during their college experience, and, you know, they made all the connections and they had a job straight out of graduation. Like, I was not that person. I wasn't a straight A student. You know, I did not go to every class. Like, I definitely was kind of scared graduating without any plans. I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to figure things out. But, you know, it's scary. Like, it's incredibly intimidating. It's a really confusing time. But, you know, landing a job is kind of like the first goal, right? You know, you just want a job, or you want an internship that could lead to a job. And then you kind of just have to keep like pushing yourself. For me, it was like, I felt like I didn't have all the experience that I needed when I left college, because I didn't do a ton of internships during. So after college, I was, you know, focused on making money, but I was also like taking internships that were unpaid because I was like, I need the experience, you know, I need something to add to my resume that solidifies what the trajectory of where I'm trying to get to, I guess. So really it was more just about like almost like survival, you know, in a sense, because you're really like navigating the world alone, and people expect something of you. You see your peers, you know, getting jobs and getting promotions, and you know, we have this kind of expectation of like, right out of college, I should be making six figures at this job, and I should be at an agency, and I should be doing this and that and that. But realistically, like, you should be following your own path. And when I was out of college, I kind of was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but we're going to figure it out. I don't know. I always have this like problem solving mentality of like, okay, I want to do this. How do I get there? Or like, this door is closed, but how do I open it? So I think it's just about, you know, just staying, like keeping an eye on your goals and not being afraid to do something that maybe doesn't look exactly like what you think you want to be doing. Because so many of my odd jobs or odd internships that I did opened my eyes to something, pushed me in the direction that I am in today. So can't be afraid to like do something that doesn't seem like your dream straight out of college, I think.
I like feel that because just, yeah, I've been to 4 different universities, and each one like has taught me, but like I've been at the longest at DePaul, and I think, I don't know, like that's just like, yeah, I've like don't have straight A. I mean, not feeling either, but like I don't know, like it's just very like I go to class and then I come out and I'm like, okay, like I have no idea what I'm doing after I graduate, and like I went in kind of like having like being stuck on this one job, and I kind of like shut off everything else, and then I realized like I don't think I can do this anymore, but it was a little too late. So then I just like was like, okay, like what can I do now, like how do I like gain experience in other fields, and like it was, yeah, it's been like weird, but I like connect with what you were saying.
Yeah, I think like, you know, I graduated thinking I was going to go into PR. And, you know, while social is kind of like a subset of PR in a way, it's definitely like I saw myself at like a PR agency, like doing, you know, this, that, and that. And for me, a lot of it had to do with like, you know, the classes that you take your senior year in marketing at DePaul, a lot of them are like site visits. You know, the instructors would like to introduce you to these people so that you can build some sort of networking relationship, and hopefully they offer you a job, because right now getting a job is a lot about like, who do you know and who can mention your name in the right room. But, you know, if you are working full time, like I was going to DePaul, like I was in and out of my classes too. I never lived on campus. I was like, I went to class and I probably came from work and I was going to another job afterwards. So it's, you really have to like expect the unexpected, I think. You know, it's not going to look like the cookie cutter, like movie, I just graduated college and the next day you're in a suit ready to like, you know, go to your first 9 to 5. Like that's so unrealistic. It is true for some people, but I don't think that it applies to everyone. And that's just kind of how it is. Like realistically, like I didn't have time in college to do unpaid internships like a lot of my peers did. And while those people may be like, you know, making more than I am now, I'm truly doing something that I love. So I don't know. I think you have to be like gentle with yourself and also, you know, determined and very clear-headed on what you want. But the expectations, I think, of like what the typical college experience looks like and how, you know, adulthood looks after that is like, it's out the door.
Yeah. I think that because I didn't have the traditional like college experience, one from just like transferring everywhere, but also just like a lot of things, like my friends went to like the college kind of like town. They went through like Greek life. They had like that picture, like that college picture, and I didn't have that. And so like I just felt like I was missing something because they would have all these experiences and like I just didn't follow that path. And so like I was constantly like, okay, like I'm not doing this right. Like I need it to be like that because they have it the way that like the movies and like the shows have it. So I always felt like I lacked that, and like I guess that's like my fear after like graduating is like I won't like do it the right way. And like I just like that sticks to me because I'm like, oh my God, like I need it to be better than like how I envisioned like my college. And like even with the internships, like I've like it's just like what you said about like keeping it like close because all my like peers in like my journalism school got like internships at USA Today and like CBS and like the Chicago Tribune, and I'm like I need to get an internship like that. But it wasn't until I'm like I don't even want to work there. Like why do I care so much that they have this experience if I don't even want to like be in that industry? Like I love journalism, but like not like the way they do. And so like
Right.
yeah, I had to be like, okay, you're not failing. You're just very different than everyone else in that major. Because like everyone had their plans. Like I'm gonna do like investigative reporting, and I'm want to be like a correspondent for like what's it like the government or whatever the politics thing. And I was just like the only one that's like, oh, I want to go into like the creative space. And I would get these like stares, like, what are you doing in this major? So then I had to like take a step back and be like, okay, like obviously I'm not them, and like their experience is going to be way different than mine just from like our goals. It's like I had to take a step back and be like, what do I really like want to do? Like I don't even care for those internships. Like why am I so like mad that I didn't get them if I didn't like even want them? And so like it was just like something that was like building up. And like even now I'm kind of like, okay, like my college experience was very different, but I think it was very unique, and each like experience taught me something. And I don't think I would have gotten here if it weren't for everything I went through all those 4 years.
Definitely. You would not have. Like, I mean, that's the great thing about everybody having different stories is like so much from our past has like really made way for us to like be who we are today. So I relate very heavily to your college experience, and in a different way because I was, it's still a very competitive thing, but while people were doing all of these internships at, agencies, I was literally like lifeguarding at the YMCA to pay my rent. So like people were getting all of this like great experience, and I was like, oh, I didn't have tons of friends at school, but I did realize that like, all of these like white kids had all this time to like build these connections, and when they graduated, they had these big jobs, and I was like, well, like I don't have that time. And when I went on these site visits, I didn't see people that looked like me. So I kind of also then developed this sense that like, yeah, maybe this isn't what I want to be doing. And so it took me time to like step back and be like, okay, if this is not what I want to do, then what do I want to do? And that kind of came organically through just like, I loved Instagram. I liked the way Instagram worked. I wanted to see how I was able to like, gain followers this way or lose followers this way. Like that kind of intrigued me. So it's not like abnormal to be like, I don't think this is actually how it's going to work for me. And that doesn't make it bad or, wrong. It's just, it's different. And what your passion is what will make it work out. Like, it's not going to be because you followed the same path that everyone else did to like get from point A to point B. It's just be like, you work smarter and you still have the passion. Like that's the path. The key to success is like being passionate and consistent in what you want to do versus like, oh, well, everybody else went to work for USA Today. Like, yes, I'll go too. Like it's hard because I feel like college does kind of put you in that space where you feel like you should be doing X, Y, and Z because everybody else is doing it. But like, there are so many different ways to do things. So many people today are in positions, successful positions of fields that they did not study in college. Like their degrees are somewhere collecting dust because they're doing something different. So, it's not saying like college is bad, but like college isn't everything, like it's not, that path isn't for everyone. And there's a lot of people that took that path that ended up doing something totally different. So.
Yeah. I think one thing about college that's very unique is like being in a space with like a bunch of your peers at the same time, right? Like the ability to meet people, whether it's in classes, whether it's while eating lunch, whether it's, through a mutual friend. I feel like that is one thing that is unique about college, but it does turn into something where it's like oh, my friend got an internship here, I should go get an internship there, right? Or this person got this, I should be doing this. Or my teacher said I should be doing this, right? And it really turns into like I wouldn't say it turns into like kind of similar to like a factory where it's like, oh, you see this person go this way and I should go that same way because I'm next in line for this factory manufacturing thing. You know what I mean? Uh, but one thing you really talked about was networking, right? And I want to kind of get back to your journey, right? Where you were at these internships. Did networking play a big part into getting your dream role, or was it something that you kind of just happened to find and apply?
I think both. I think networking kind of helped me. While nobody I like directly knew got me the job that I have today, networking with other professionals, not even just in beauty, but like in of a similar age group as me, kind of made me realize that like I can be a professional, I can be like a working woman, you know, because I never really saw myself like that. I was like, oh, this, like, you're a goofball, what are you doing? Like, you know, you're not a professional person. But like networking, going to networking events and seeing like people that looked like me, people that were tattooed, people that were brown and black, you know, people whose style wasn't like black suit and, you know, like dress shoes, helped me realize that is also professional, you know, like that is also something that exists in this world. So it kind of like sparked my career confidence and helped me go for these jobs that maybe I wasn't I wasn't qualified for, but like, you know, it pumped me up enough to like really put me out there in the business world, I think. So like networking for me was more just about like almost like confidence building. Like that's what it was for me. But you know, like the internships and the people that I met there then went on to be like references for me. So not only did they see my work and think it was good and, you know, supported me enough to like say to somebody else, like, no, she's great, she can do this, that, and that. So it's important to like build good relationships that way, because these people are who's going to put you into your next position. They're going to lift you up there. But I don't think anybody, like nobody that I really met in internships kind of put me like in contact with anybody that I work with now, but they vetted me, you know, like they're the ones that told everybody who like I was not a lunatic and like, yes, like she can do this work, you know?
Yeah. And another thing that you touched on is, for me, what I got from it, and you talked about it a little before, is like, you said the confidence that you built up was not only from people who are outside of your career, but it also seems like it had to do with representation, right? Because before that, you talked about, we went on these site visits, nobody looked like me, I couldn't find anybody in that space that looked like me, right? And that's why, like, going back to what you said, representation is so important to showcase opportunities for people, right? Because like confidence is huge, right? If you don't think you can fit into that type of culture, or you don't think like, oh, they're not hiring people like me, that's discouragement even before you even try to send in the application.
Yeah, definitely. And it was wild for me because it was like in college, you know, like where it was at DePaul, where I was probably like one of two Black people in classes that I was in anyway. So yeah, when we would go on site visits and everybody at this PR agency was like a white male, I was kind of like, I wouldn't even fit in here. Like how, you know, when I walked in to be on the site visit, I feel like I was getting stared at. So it was very much like, I felt very like, stay back, stay away. Like, this is not, this is not it. You know, it was kind of like a do not enter sign on the front door. But then I met someone. Her name is Sandy Robinson. She is my mentor. I still call her my mentor. She was the director of sales at, the Godfrey Hotel. And she was like this tiny, sassy Black woman who had this beautiful, like colorful dress on when I met her, and she had dreads that were like styled in this like beautiful updo, and I was like, oh my God, there's people like this that exist. I was like, she runs this place. Now she runs several hotels, you know, like she's amazing, but she changed the game for me because I was like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, that's that. And, you know, she like reviewed my resume. She took me to networking events. She invited me to her office and like showed me around. She really inspired me, like in the best of ways. So representation is huge because I didn't even think that I could do something like that until I saw her.
Yeah. Love that. Just like the mentoring idea and like having that. My question is like, one, like how did you get to like Ulta, and then like what does your day look like every day? Like your day to day?
Sure. So I got a job at Ulta. So I was at the social media agency. I was in the photo department. It was exciting for me because it was like my first like real job, like my first real like 9 to 5 where I had to like dress nice and there was like an office. But it was honestly a really difficult job. It was hard. It was really time consuming. I was working 9 to like 8. It was not 9 to 5. I was working really long hours and it was wild, but I was learning a ton and I loved it. So like the hard work wasn't really an issue for me. It was more just like I was craving the passion that was driving me because like I work long hours at Ulta, not all the time. I think it's much more regulated. I do really work 9 to 5. Today I worked 9 to 12 because it's Friday and we have summer Fridays. But, you know, I was missing the passion that was driving that, you know, and I wasn't like looking for jobs because I had just kind of settled in here. I think I was there like 6 months. And I had an email from a recruiter. So I had like, when I was looking for jobs, I had submitted applications to some of these like, you know, if you're on LinkedIn, sometimes there's like recruiters on there. I didn't know this. So sometimes it's like just companies that are like looking to hire people. I thought I was applying to this place. But I guess they still had my resume on file, and they had emailed me saying that they thought I was a great fit for this job, but that it looked like I was no longer searching for employment, you know, and they gave me the rundown of the job. And I didn't really look at the email. I kind of was like, oh, I have a job, it's fine. And they had sent me another email that just fell open one day on my phone. I'm not even joking. I like opened my phone and it had been in my purse and I picked it up and the email was open and I was like reading the description and I was like, oh, that sounds wonderful. And I was like, I feel like I should do it. And then I didn't know that it was for Ulta Beauty, but I just said, I literally tapped a button that said I'm interested. And the recruiter called me the next day. And like from there, it was very fast. Like I had a phone interview with my now manager and we were talking so fast and so like bouncing ideas off each other so hard that we were like, whoo, okay, it's been 45 minutes. This is supposed to be a 15-minute phone interview. And yeah, now I work for Ulta. I've been there a year next month and it's been very surreal because it is like how it happened. It was so by chance and so fast and like wild. And then all of a sudden I was like sitting at a desk in this beautiful like orange and pink room because those are Ulta Beauty's brand colors. And I was like, shit, I have landed this job. Can I swear? Sorry, my bad. Excuse my language.
You can swear. You can swear.
But a typical day, which, you know, now it's not a typical day, but it is pretty much what I would be doing if I was in the office as well. You know, I log in and the first thing I do is go through my emails because dealing with influencers, a lot of times we're communicating directly with them. And influencers don't work 9 to 5. So if I get an email at 8 p.m., I'll get the ping, but I'm not answering it, you know, because this is not work hours. And it's kind of hard to do sometimes because a lot of things are time sensitive, but I've been very good about like cutting myself off at 5. But influencers work, I get emails sometimes at 3 a.m. Why they're not asleep and they're up asking me questions about what kind of content they should create, I don't know, but it's not my business. So I have a lot of emails usually in the morning to answer. Communicating with influencers, a lot of times they have questions about, you know, product or How specific do they need to be in their caption? Sometimes it's content approvals. We'll approve content before it goes live sometimes if it's something like a new launch, or the influencer or somebody we feel like we need to approve their content before it goes live. And after that, I will occasionally have like meetings about things coming up. So sometimes that's like new brands that are launching at Ulta Beauty, campaigns that are coming up that we need to work on. And it's very much like a cross-functional team. We have people that work on strategy, and those people tell us what they need. We find influencers to do those things, and then we review the content and send it to the creative manager, who then either says, okay, we're going to use this here, or we're not going to use this, we'll save it for some for a rainy day or something. I do a lot of like brief building, which is basically just like outlining the ask for the influencer, spelling it out to them, mailing them product, shade matching, my least favorite thing to do, but like, oh my gosh, just trying to find the right foundation shade for somebody. I can barely do it for myself. What else? Gosh, I spend a lot of time on Instagram at work. A ton of time on Instagram, and lately TikTok. I'm always on TikTok. It's ridiculous.
There's like really good influencers on, well, at least like not like beauty, like people who do makeup on TikTok. There you go. That's the right way to say it. They're like really good in the way they edit their videos. I'm like, oh, I should do this, because like it's really good.
Okay, people are getting really good at TikTok. It's hard. It is very hard, and it takes like a really long time to record these videos. I've made like a few TikToks myself, but like they're very time consuming, and they drain your phone. Me and TikTok have beef. I can't even really go into it. TikTok and I are not friends all the time.
So speaking of like that crazy schedule and TikTok taking up a lot of your time, which, you sit on TikTok and you might be on, I think I'm on there for 5 minutes and feel it's like 30 minutes go by. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Right. It's been like an hour and a half and you have like 2% battery left. You're like,
yeah.
What happened? But speaking of that, what does right? How do you take care of yourself with a busy schedule, hectic schedule, constantly being on social media, which can be emotionally draining, mentally draining? What are you doing in your self-care routine?
Yeah, I think right now, especially, like this is such a great time for this question, because there has never been a time where we are like, one, more on our phones, and two, we're working in social media and just working from home in general. Like your weekend and your Monday morning are like, what, 10 feet apart maybe? If you have an office space, like sometimes they're no feet apart, So for me, I've been really diligent about my work hours. If I have a busy week, maybe I have to log in at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m., but I'm always going to end at 5 p.m. If I'm sleepy, maybe I'll start at 9 and end at 6. That's fine too. But I try to like really set a time before I even start my work day. I do like really try to keep to my routines. Like I work out in the morning, I will make myself a smoothie, and then I go and I log in. And then, I take breaks throughout the day, but I try to like really keep myself on a schedule. And then in terms of social, it is so hard because I do spend a lot of time on social for work. I work with influencers. A lot of them follow me and I follow them. So they want to ask me questions in my DM. And if I look at it, they're like asking me the more questions. And I'm like, listen, just letting you know, like I'm only on Instagram for work between 9 and 5. Those are my work hours. I'm not answering questions on Instagram either. It's like the same thing as email. So I've had to be really like just kind of strict with my boundaries and letting people know that like these are my boundaries, don't cross them. If you do cross them, I have to tell you you've crossed it and we have to back up. Which, I think also as a woman, especially a Black woman, can come off like rude or bitchy sometimes, especially over the internet. But like really, it's just about respecting my space, respecting my mental space and my, especially my physical space now. But like, it's respecting me and what I'm asking for. You know, it used to be like harder for me to do, but I think with everything going on, I've just had to be like, listen, I need to like log out for a second. And I do. Some days I just don't go on Instagram after work. Like my personal Instagram, I think sometimes takes a back burner because I have to like separate business from personal. And so sometimes I won't post for like a week. I'm doing that right now. And it's just because I'm like, I'm sick of Instagram. I can't even look at it right now. Like I don't want to look at it. I'm in the throes of planning like a really intense campaign that we've been plotting on for months. And there's just been delay after delay after delay. And some days I just am like, I'm logging out and I'll go do my makeup for Instagram and I'll take photos, but I don't log in and post it. I'm like, I'll post it tomorrow or later or something. So that, you know, it's just about setting boundaries for yourself and not feeling guilty about it. That's the thing. Like, don't guilt yourself about your boundaries, especially right now. We need them more than ever. We need them. So just makeup therapy is my thing. I'm staying off Instagram.
There's like something about putting on your makeup that's just therapeutic. And like, even if you're not doing anything, like just laying around your house with your like face beat up is like the greatest feeling ever. I love doing that. And it makes me feel like
fabulous.
Yeah, like so I want to use the word angelic because I feel like I'm like angelic when I have my makeup on. I'm like, no one can touch me. I'm great. This is a great space. And it's just like there's something about it. I connect with that. Yeah. Even if I don't on Instagram, I'm like, I did this for me, and I like to look at myself in the mirror and admire like what I did. And it's just like a self-love time too, I think, also, because you're doing that for yourself as well.
For sure. For me, like, makeup is so therapeutic. Like, putting some music on and not having to rush. Like, when I used to do my makeup before, I always say I've done my makeup more during quarantine than I have done my makeup, like, in real life. Like, I promise you, it's wild. Because when before, I would be like, oh, I have to meet my friends at 7. So, like, I get home from work at 6, and then I'm like, okay, I'm out the door. Like, sometimes I didn't even get a picture. But right now, I have time to chill. I have time to put music on and relax and just, like, you know, do the beat however I want to do it. Yesterday I did a makeup look, and usually I'll just take it right off. I left it on because I was like, oh, I love this. It's beautiful. Why would I take this off? I ate dinner by myself in a full face of makeup because I was like, why not?
I love that. I love that so much. So just on, what advice have you gotten that just like stuck with you or really like helped you like from college till now? And then like, what have you learned about yourself through like this whole journey?
Ooh, I have never recognized my potential more than I have right now. It's something about like landing the job at Ulta that at first, you know, I'm a victim of imposter syndrome. It can take me out sometimes. It will talk me out of literally so many things, so many opportunities. And I have to like fight it quite literally in my brain. I'm also a Virgo, so like I don't know if I'm gonna do astrology, but I'm like the biggest critic. I'm never more critical of like anyone else but myself. You know, like when people try to like make fun of me or like take jabs at me, I'm like, trust me, I've said way worse stuff to myself. Way worse. You can't really hurt me. I've hurt my own feelings a lot. So I feel like I've never really felt more confident about my future than I have right now. The work I'm doing at Ulta has really motivated me, and I'm killing it, which is like, you know, I never say that kind of stuff about myself, but I'm killing it right now. And so I just feel like very, ironically, with the times, hopeful about like my future and where it's going, my career path and like my ability to succeed, whatever that looks like for me. But that was the second part of the question. I forgot the first part. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll just repeat both of them. So like, what advice have you gotten like from your mentor or from just like other individuals, even like your peers or friends? And then the other one is like, what have you learned about yourself and then like through your journey?
Yeah. I guess advice, this is very specific to me, but a woman I used to babysit for told me, I showed her my Instagram and I casually mentioned that I was like, yeah, I have like 3,000 followers or something. And she was like, put that on your resume. And I was like, what? Like, put my personal Instagram on my resume? Changed my life. Like, that's like almost textbook imposter syndrome, right? Like, someone's telling you, put this on your resume because it's amazing. And you're like, for what? It's okay, you know? So that is advice that truly changed my life. But I think also, like, more general advice, I would say just to, like, keep your head up. You know, like, you're going to get so many no's that will try to discourage you. They'll try to, like, knock you down and make you think that you can't do whatever it is that you were trying to do. But that no is probably just, like, the universe's way, or, you know, God or whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in. That's their way of telling you to, like, pivot. You know, it's just a different direction. Like, this is kind of taboo to talk about, but like, I'd asked for a raise at a job once and it didn't work out. They told me no. And I was like really upset because I was like, I've been working this job for so long and I just can't believe I didn't get a raise. And I was really frustrated, and I was kind of like, this is a dead end, but I don't know where to go from here. And things changed very quickly. And the next job I had was about like a 16 grand raise on what I was making at that old job. So like, the no's are there for a reason, you know, it's just not the time. And it's not the place. Like, timing is truly everything. So
Yeah, I love that advice. Just because, like, the same. Like, when I've gotten no's, I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's the universe trying to, like, push me through my right path. And I always, like, tell, like, people, like, I just have so much, like, trust in the universe. I feel like it's, like, she knows what she's doing. So I know, like, I'm going to be, like, like, all these no's are, like, meant for me. And all these yeses are meant for me. So it's, like, where I'm supposed to be. I just can't, like, stress over it. I love
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even that small bit of advice, I remember going through the applications on Evelyn and seeing her Instagram was one of the main reasons. I was like, oh yeah, this makes so much sense to get on social media. Like, clearly makes so much sense. And I feel like a lot of students don't think of that. Like, it's just something that, you know, it talks. There's a video I was watching from like one of my favorite pastors, TBJ. He was talking about like, people don't notice that their gifts are their gifts because they're so in it, right? And when you're so in it, it just comes naturally to you, right? And that's why, like, sometimes it is good to have a good circle of people to say, hey, this is a gift. Like, you should really showcase that. And that's what I feel like is so important, to really just take this conversation as well, right? Like, that piece of advice right there can truly help somebody else, right? There's so much other stuff we talk about, of course, too, that can help out. But like, that piece of advice is truly what can help someone move forward in their life.
I mean, Melyssa, you said earlier, you were like, yeah, I want to navigate the beauty space. You're like, I have an Instagram, but whatever. It's not whatever. Get to work.
I have like even like imposter syndrome with that, just because like, like I have two accounts. I have like my main one, which I was supposed to keep professional, but like, it's so hard when like my brand is very different than like what professional is, and like in the sense of like that space of like journalism, I guess, like where it's like button downs and like like mine is very like pink and bright and wearing fashion and like just not like what would be considered professional. And so then I made like my Instagram account for like my beauty videos and things like that. And then I just got like so discouraged just because like I would see like these like girls like and like guys like beat their face up so good, and I'm like, I want to be at that level, but like how, like I don't feel like I could ever be there. So then I kind of like stopped making them, and like I got a little sad. But then I was like, no, like it's just practice. So like I'm trying to restart doing, because like I could spend hours like editing my makeup videos, and like I just have so much fun, and like I have like wine on the side, and like it just be like another self-love routine. But like I just like stopped doing it because I'm like, will I get that many like followers? And like she, like I call her my internet friend because we're not really friends in real life, but we're like internet best friends. And we both started like our beauty Instagram kind of at the same time, and she's like almost 1,000, and then she got retweeted by ColourPop. So I was like, okay, like if she could do it, like I know I could do it. Like, and she kind of motivated me to like get back on it. It's like that's what I'm trying to do. But like I never considered putting my like Instagram on my resume, just because like I'm scared of what like jobs will think of like what I have as content. Like even like my highlights or like in my feed, they'll be like, why is she captioning this picture? And I'll be like, you're not supposed to see that.
I mean, definitely clean it up before you put it on your resume. Don't have your like party pics on there. Though I think I post some pretty questionable things, but like, you know, whatever. What is it at this point? What are you gonna do? Either you're gonna unfollow me or you're gonna laugh and keep it moving. You know, like what I post on Instagram doesn't reflect or affect my work. You know, like I'm still a professional regardless if I post this like trashy meme that's hilarious. You know, like lately I've been posting about how kids have been dressing up like grandmas to like buy booze because of the masks, and I'm like, that's illegal, but I'm still posting about it because it's hilarious. Come on, it's like Mrs. Doubtfire. It's hilarious. But like, you know, fun fact about brands, especially beauty brands, like followers is like the last thing people are looking at right now. They're looking for communities. They want influencers that have a community of followers that engage with their content. Your engagement rate can be like the industry standard is like 3%, meaning like 3% of your followers engage with your content. And if you think about it, if you have 100 followers, that's 3 people. 3 people left comments and liked your photo, and brands think that's good because, you know, like you have 100 followers, but that's a good chunk of your people that are engaging with your content. So, you know, it's not about how many followers you have. There are multiple influencers in the Ulta Beauty Collective. That's our year-long influencer program. There are multiple people in there that have less than 10,000 followers. They have less than 5,000 followers, some of them. So it's not about a number of how many people follow you, because you can pay for followers and have like 10K in 20 minutes. But the engagement and the community and the like, you know, the people who really just love your content, they love your voice, they love what you post. That's what's important. That's what brands are going to be looking for.
Yeah, I think that was also something, because I like don't want to say, like I don't consider myself an influencer. I guess like I am like a very like micro one, but like
I'm influencing you today, just letting you know. I'm gonna go listen to Melanie Martinez later. I didn't remember her name. That's remarkable.
I just like, I feel like I have built something. I think that's like my biggest fear was like, oh, like I have like only 1,000 something followers. Like I need more to even be considered. But like someone would like else said like the engagement is more important, and like that always like that stuck to me, because like I'll have this many followers, but then like this many likes, and I'll be like that's not a lot. But then I'll look at the engagement and I'll be like, oh, and like I'll see the comments, and like I'd get a lot of comments on it, and so like I think that was more encouraging to me, because then I can say like, oh yeah, I'm like a micro influencer. Like because I like, yeah, I have like certain things that I'm very passionate about, and like I'll follow accounts that are like similar to that and like talk about those things like that. But like, yeah, I would like, I don't know, like I'm trying to like become like your typical influencer. I just think it takes time to do that. And so like that's what I'm trying to do right now.
It takes time. It takes time to build a community of people. Like, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, and it won't happen overnight even if you get reposted by ColourPop and gain 600 followers in one day. That also isn't going to happen overnight. You have to build your voice. You have to build that authenticity that people crave. You know, you have to be consistent in your content. You have to try new things. Some are going to work, some are not. But like, really, at the root of it, I would say it's consistency, authenticity, and like effort. You know, it has to be genuine, that you're, you know, replying to comments, you're liking people's photos back, you're following people, like you said. Like, that's such a huge part of my Instagram, is like following people that inspire me, like following people that like like Julie Wilson, I mentioned her earlier. I've been following her on Instagram for a while, just because it's like she has a job that I would love to have. And she's DM'd me one time. I responded to a story of hers and she responded back. But like, other than that, we don't really interact. But, you know, it's like, to be around that energy, it's going to inspire you, and you're going to pick things up that maybe you hadn't thought of yourself, that you can then twist and make your own and incorporate into your own content. Like, so much of social media is like, you know, everybody is not copying each other, but everybody's kind of inspiring each other. It wouldn't be Instagram wouldn't be the platform that it is if you didn't have a bunch of creative, like, amazing people in one spot that everybody could see, if everybody had access to it. So I don't know, I think you just have to, it's hard because like you want it to be perfect and pretty, but that's not really realistically what the journey to greatness looks like, you know? It's ugly sometimes, and it's hard, and you might get sweaty. Like, sometimes you'll do a makeup look and you'll be like, oh, this is terrible. And I just spent an hour and a half doing it, and I'm going to wipe it off now in tears. But, like, next time you'll know.
I feel that. Like, it just, like, the vision in your head just doesn't come out right. Like, I don't know, like, I maybe didn't execute it right, or I just had a different idea of what it would have looked like. I felt that, yeah. Like, I would be like, this is not it. And, like, just take it all off and then retry it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel very strongly that, like, quarantine and, like, COVID as a whole is not a productivity contest. It's really not. Like, this is hard, and people should be able to take breaks when they need to. But there is also, like, this plethora of time that if it didn't work the first time, schedule a time when you're going to try it again. You know, like, maybe it's a time that you would have went to the gym, but instead you're doing, like, a 20-minute workout in your basement, and so now you have 40 minutes extra to, like, try it again. Like, I just feel like there's so much space now and things are changing. It's such a great time to, like, jump on an idea you have and, like, run with it, because so much is changing right now. Like, nothing's about to be the same. So there's room for newness. There's room for, like, change. There's room for growth. Like, this is such an interesting time for that right now.
Yeah.
Especially in the social space. Things are
think
getting weird, real funky there.
They are. They truly are. I think one thing that I've heard consistently throughout this conversation has to do with resilience, right? Sticking in there, never truly giving up, and always pushing yourself forward to the next opportunity and just trying again, right? Not being afraid to try and try and try until you get it right. And what's right according to your own personal standard, right? And in saying all of that, I want to, one, thank you, because I know we could talk hours, but I want to thank you for coming on here, sharing your wisdom, Evelyn, and also giving a great co-host and speaker, Melyssa, for jumping on here. You two just connected so well. So let's give all of ourselves a round of applause. So we like to do on our virtual internship so everyone can see. But yeah, I just want to thank you and thank everyone for tuning in and listening to episode 2 of Do You Have a Map?
Thank you, guys. It was so fun.
It was. I'm going to, like, miss you already. And you're still on the call. But
I will be on Instagram. We'll be friends.
Yes. Wait, what is it? I'm going to follow you right now. Or actually, can you?
Oh yeah, where can people find you, Evelyn? Let's do that. That's
my little shout out. Okay. So I am at MadRude, M4D Rude, because I still speak internet. On all social channels, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, at MadRude.
Perfect.